One toasted for free.
Are you taking a piss or what? Some people said they were giving away some free food, but didn't know it was a communist.
Capitalism is an actively, destructive system that encourages greed because that's how you make profit. It's not really a human nature problem, it's an environmental. You're in an environment that encourages X, so you're going to do X.
Birçok insan düşünüyor bunu fakat hayata geçiremiyor. Yani böyle bir şeyi hayal edemiyor. Bunu ilk defa biz hayal ettik böyle bir şeyi. O da yani şöyle, hani daha önce de söyledim belki, komünist ayakkabıcı yok, komünist berber yok, hani böyle bir levha yok. İlk defa dünyada tek bir şey oldu, komünist kebap. Şey de söyle, yani biz para odaklı olarak burayı düşünmedik. Yani para odaklı değiliz. Hedefimiz para değil burada. Aynen böyle tercüme et.
But that's basically saying, our main goal with this restaurant isn't money specifically.
Burada esas şey, komünizmi acaba bir dükkan boyutunda nasıl uygulayabilirim?
We're basically trying to implement, in a way, a communist system in a smaller system, a restaurant.
Nasıl uygulayabilirim? Bu bir sosyal deney.
A day's work, go home, watch the telly, and that's it. Like, I don't mix with politics or anything. As far as politics is concerned nowadays, the whole world's fucked up.
I mean, I don't want to go down the route of, I just think, well, it's bollocks, but new politics would be good. Do you know what I mean? Combination of something that actually works, but I'm not clever enough to know anything about it, do you know what I mean? But that's what I'd like.
All right.
Nice one. I'd like something based on communism, but something new, I don't know.
Çünkü birçok insan bulunduğu konumundan dolayı mutlu değil.
Because obviously most people are not happy with their current living situations and the way things are going.
Ben burada herkesin neşe içerisinde çalışmasını istiyorum.
I want everyone to work and be happy and in a peace of mind.
Mesela sabah geldiğimizde buraya bir süre sonra kültür fizik hareketleri yapacağız. Yani spor, küçük, basit spor hareketleri.
Sen başla.
Yani buraya geldi mi personel, ayrıca bir küçük bir spor hareketleri yapacak. Yani ne diyorlar ona? Ne? Ya eğilip kalkacak, spor, evet.
So when I was basically, like, for example, like for the workers here, when they first come in here, we'll give them like some exercises, something to, like, to connect, have basically less alienation from their work, essentially.
Sonra işin belli bir aşamasında işi keseceğiz, herkes dans etmeye başlayacak.
Yeah, like, we'll have like breaks in typical work, to have more social activities like dancing, that sort of thing.
Dans etmek mecbur.
Yeah.
Söyle.
My dad's joking about it being mandatory to dance.
Dans etmek zorunda.
Yeah.
Ondan sonra tekrar işimize bakacağız.
Yeah. Then we just return back to work.
Yani böyle nasıl söyleyeyim, Martin Luther King'in dediği gibi bu da benim hayalim.
I have a dream that one day every valley shall be exalted, and every hill and mountain shall be made low, the rough places will be made plain, and the crooked places will be made straight, and the glory of the Lord shall be revealed, and all flesh shall see it together. This is our hope. With this faith, we will be able to hew out of the mountain of despair a stone of hope. With this faith, we will be able to transform the jangling discords of our nation into a beautiful symphony of brotherhood. With this faith, we will be able to work together, to pray together, to struggle together, to go to jail together, to stand up for freedom together, knowing that we will be free one day.
Well, that isn't very read up, at least I think that's fair to say. It's more idealistic without the theory backbone of it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I didn't know some of the context of the speech, but like at the end of the day, your heart is in the right place, right? Which I do very much respect. So there we go. Oh.
Patronlar genelde kendi güçlerini paylaşmayı sevmiyorlar.
Vlada?
Kıskançlık, bütün temel nokta insanların kıskanç olması.
One of the key points is obviously the fact that humans are, have some natural greed in them, in the sense that, or rather bosses being greedy and not willing to share that power with the workers.
Kazançlarını paylaşsalar,
if they were to share those profits,
aslında hem kendileri hem de çalışanları mutlu olacak.
In reality, both the workers and the boss would, to a degree, benefit from that interaction.
Artı çalışanların liyakat durumuna göre, yani başarılı olmaları, işimize bağlı olmaları kaydıyla onlara da kardan pay vermeyi düşünüyoruz.
Bilal?
Kendi dallarında, kendi işlerinde başarılı olanlar bizden aynı zamanda maaş harici kardan da pay alacaklar.
Your style is unorthodox, but effective.
They're partially based on the names of actual historical socialist figures. So Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks, Marx, Engels, Lenin, Fidel Castro, and they all are coordinated with different foods. So first one's beef doner, chicken doner, fluffles, halloumi cheese sandwich wrap, cigar burek, lamb shish.
Do you like kebabs?
I'm a jerker. I do jerking more, so I'm not really fascinated about anything other than my jerking, you know what I mean? And even that does me in, so,
Are you a communist?
Bro, I've been in the country since 1961. I don't deal in politics. Politics is your thing. If that's what you're about, then keep with it, because you won't have no real conversation with me about it. Seen all of them go through, and none of them ain't giving me shit, so what am I worrying about? You know what I mean?
When did you start getting into politics and...
Politics, I believe it was around 2017, ironically not because of Trump, like everyone else did. Mostly after seeing the Unite the Right rallies that happened in America, along with the Tories going even further right. I didn't become a communist until like 2019, roughly after Corbyn lost. I don't know if I was a bit of a centrist back then, which is kind of hilarious, yeah. But after reading up more on it, obviously, I believe that was, I finally went to a position of hard left.
We should remind ourselves that across the country, there are 600,000 workers taking strike action together. The workers are no longer prepared to accept the attacks on our wages, the attacks on our terms and conditions in the cost of living crisis. Tory! Tories! Out, out, out! Tories! Out! Tories! Out! Tory! Out, out, out! What do we want? Campaign! When do we want it? Now!
Why do you think striking is important?
Striking is the only power workers have to increase wages. There's no other power workers have to make sure their conditions are better, that the government listens to them. So they have to do this sort of action in order to actually get both bosses and the government to listen to them, because they themselves have no power in the system they live in. So this is essentially, I mean, to use an American, it's the violence of the unheard.
I think we've got to see that a riot is the language of the unheard.
Are all your family into politics?
I wouldn't say so. My dad is used to be far more active in the Communist Party. Not party, actually. He was more of a student activist back then, but he also lived during the time of the 1960 Turkish coup. So the Communists got ejected from the government via a military coup. So it wasn't a great time to be communist back then, because he was shot. So, yeah. In fact, he actually had a whole story about it where basically before his exam, the army raided the student barracks, because that was where a lot of communist sympathizers were, and shot his friend actually just before the exam. Yeah. This is probably where he got radicalized, to be fair.
I'm really happy because I'm really hungry.
It's got a kind of Marxist flavour about it.
So what would you like?
Is it open now? That was quick. I saw them like mocking it up and refurbishing it.
What do you think when you see a shop opening called the Communist Kebab?
I think hell yeah.
What do you think of the name? The name of the shop?
What is it called?
The Communist.
Normally people just call it kebab shop, so...
That was the best kebab roll I've had in Deptford in a long, long time, mate. I've got to be honest. I take my hat off to you, sir. Have a nice day. I'll be fine.
Look at the machine. Look at the machine I was cut to pristine.
Yeah. Oh, my greasy love of bacon. It's the best.
This product here, it's new. It's something that every kebab shop needs because I'll just quickly show you. With a push of a button, it's quicker than a normal hand. It doesn't get tired. It doesn't have brakes. It doesn't have off days. You know, it's the future of the kebab industry. I could happily say that. Yeah.
Is the robot kebab going to replace like human workers?
I wouldn't say that's our aim, but I would say with staff issues all around the UK right now, I mean this machine is very popular in Scotland. It was on the Sun newspaper as well a couple of weeks back. It won't replace. It will never replace a human, right? Because as you see, there's still people pressing a button. There's still people cooking the doner. It doesn't cook by itself due to people liking it well done and people not liking it too overcooked. It won't replace. It won't replace, but it's crazy what you could do. I mean, in the future, we're hoping to bring out tablets which will actually cut, you know, whatever you want here. So you can even draw a smiley face. It's under the works. It's something crazy. It's a robot. It's a software. You can program it however you want to cut it. I go to kebab shops every day, right? I see everybody's done it, and the Communist is using one type of beef which is very, very good. I mean, it's expensive. It's not at the Wagyu grade, but it's a very, very good piece of meat, and cutting it is very simple for the machine.
Are you a communist?
I would say I agree with most of the communist thoughts, and not with some. I don't know how to put that.
I mean, it's nice that somebody gives away food like that, so yeah. Well, we don't like the word communist much, but being kind is good.
Yeah.
I'm in favour of that.
What is it about the word that you don't like?
The word communist? Well, I was brought up, you know, I'm quite old, so I was brought up in the Cold War, and we did realise that communism was a pretty destructive thing to like about 40 million people in China. I mean, Mao Zedong did kill 40 million people. And then I'm a believer in God. So what I think is, and you'll check this out, read Fyodor Mikhailovich Dostoevsky, the brothers Karamazov, and he explains, he's a philosophical novelist, he explains how when you take the idea of God away from your thinking, it has repercussions. And sooner or later, materialism will take you into a bottomless pit of degradation and destruction. We love freedom, don't we? Be good if we looked after our freedom. Right.
Cool. Thanks, mate. Some people we've chatted to said communism's killed a lot of people. What do you
Yes,
say
it
to
has.
that?
Yes, of course it has. In the name of communism, but it was never really communism, because, admittedly, human nature does, take over. But I think as more people are educated, as more people are informed of all different forms of thought, and are well-rounded in terms of what knowledge they know, if more and more people are educated, human nature can be not like tampered down, but changed.
Before in the UK, there's not social government, yeah? But now it's more socialist. For example, because you can go to NHS, it's free. See? But before, maybe 50 years ago, no, 60 years ago, you have to pay a little bit money. But now it's free.
Someone must pay.
Yeah.
Somewhere. Nothing's completely free. Anyway, I didn't realise there's a kebab shop called the Communist Kebab shop till I passed yesterday. I'm like, what? You're having a laugh, and now I want a kebab. Free kebab!
Do you think food's political?
Yeah, it absolutely is. Abundance of food, that's always a political issue, providing to everybody. Food banks are strewn across the country.
It's a necessity. Do you know what I'm saying? This is a necessity. Everyone eats food every single day. Someone's got some type of power over it. So, well, not someone, but organisation or the people who manufacture it, produce it, they decide, okay, yeah, this is who I want to sell it to. I think, so, of course it's political.
I'm someone who believes in that everyone should have a fair amount of food to eat, somewhere decent to sleep. I'm all for that.
I would describe myself as a communist, but I do believe in like socialist policy. I live in Britain, so I think it's a bit privileged of me to describe myself as a communist. I'm not one of the people that say like communism is just death and torment and all that shit, but feasibly in a capitalist society it's not going to work. So yeah. Capitalism oppresses socialism intrinsically. There is no socialist or communist country in the world, no matter what China wants to call itself, I guess. But then you look at the places where communism has, or socialism perhaps, because I like socialism, has worked effectively in places like Burkina Faso, Africa. It just leads to like the Danish and the French and the Americans, killing the guys in charge. Yeah. I don't know. Can I get my kebab?